All right. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. There are none. Next item on the agenda is the consent. Do I have a board member willing to?
Madam President,
Yes.
move to adopt the following resolution.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Early and supported by Mr. Nixon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I thought we were
nays?
doing roll call on our votes.
Oh, that's right, we were.
Consent agenda, you want to do a roll call?
Yes.
Daniel Winston,
Yes.
Anthony Johnson,
Yes.
Lori Hicks,
Yes.
Misha Early,
Yes.
Cheryl Flesher,
Yes.
Amanda Flesher, yes, Julie Calver.
Yes. 7 yeses, 0 nays. Adoption. Resolution adopted. Next item on the agenda is consider preliminary budget for the 2023-2024 school year. Mrs. Early.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to offer up a couple of comments before you took your vote tonight. Just a refresher on what was covered a couple of weeks ago. First of all, we're required by law to pass a budget by June 30th in order for our state aid to continue. This budget that's before you tonight is a preliminary budget. It's not perfect. Part of the reason being that the state has not issued their state budget, so we are completely in the dark at this point as to what they're going to be providing to public schools for the 23-24 school year. The fact that they have not released any of this information yet has made it very difficult, exponentially difficult, to create a budget for the next 12 months. It's just not an ideal situation. This time last year, the state had released their budget. There had been a lot of communication as to what was going to be in that budget. And so having said that, we're told that possibly by the end of this week, the state will have released their budget, which will then allow us to start our next steps in creating a more precise budget for 23-24. But the bottom line is that we have to have a budget approved by Friday in order for our state aid to continue for July and August. I just want to assure you and reassure you that Jason and myself and the rest of the cabinet have been talking extensively about what needs to be done when we have all the information in front of us. The other factor too is enrollment for 23-24. We're not going to know that information until October when we have our count day. So all of those factors together will help us refine what's before you tonight into a more acceptable document and give us a clearer idea of how we proceed financially through 23-24. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. To the chair?
Yes, Ms. Hicks.
Because we don't have the information and we're forced to vote on this, and I do understand that it has to be done. I don't like this budget. I just want to make it known.
And I will respond to you that I don't like it either, and neither does Jason. But given the information that we have, I feel confident that this is the best budget that I could put in front of you.
And will we have, I know that we do one mid-year adjustment. Will we get any updated information in between now and then?
I will give you any information that you would like to have.
Okay.
As we progress. And just so you know, this is a challenging year, not just for South Redford School District.
No, I understand
But for
that.
every school district who has spent all their ESSER money. There are not a lot of districts that haven't spent all of it. So this is challenging for everyone this year.
Yeah.
But yes, I will provide you as much information as often as you would like it.
Thank you.
To the chair?
Mrs.
I too am not happy, and I know I've talked to you and Jason and Shirley. I know we have to approve a budget, but this is a drawdown of fund equity that I have never seen in the last 20 years to go in with a $3.2 million deficit. And coming tonight, I've been thinking about it a lot. I was gonna vote no just to stand on principle because we have to be aware of the outcome and what our future is. And if you look and you read and you pay attention with what we have designated at the end of next year, if this one was to go, in all case worst scenario, we're going to have just a $1.5 million left in the bank. We cannot operate on that. We knew as a board going in with ESSER money, you know, we spent it, we added a lot of great things for the kids, but we also needed to know, or we needed to, in our minds as a board, have a plan. How do we continue with those programs? And if we cannot physically with our enrollment and our income, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna cut? You know, looking back to dark days, and I do not feel comfortable. I will probably vote yes, but I want it to go on record that we're going down a path, and we have to have a plan in place to be solvent, and this just really is not good. You know, we lost over 100 kids last year. Our track record is not good. I would expect us to lose more kids. Our scores are still tanking. We can't attract kids if we can't get our scores up, and we can't continue to hemorrhage money. So that's all I have to say. I hope the board really thinks hard. We do have to approve it, like Lori said, or we don't get any money. But $3.2 million is a lot of money, and I just don't think we've been fiscally responsible as a board or a district to let ourselves get in that place. So thank you for listening to me.
Any other questions?
To the chair?
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is a question for Linda or James, but for the positions that were created during COVID with the SR funds, has anyone been let go now that the funds are ending? Or did we retain all staff members?
That's certainly going to be a consideration once we have a clearer idea of what funding we're going to get for this school. We've been told by very reputable agencies, MSBO for one, Michigan State Business Office, that at-risk money is supposed to increase. We're supposed to, and this is what I'm saying. It's all we're supposed to, but we're supposed to have a large increase of our per pupil foundation. You know, one of the other things that you have to, well, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Cheryl, about this being, you know, making everybody nervous. You also have this great CTE program that, even though Innovation's not going to be open in September, the program itself is being launched in September. We're going to have kids enrolled in those classes starting in September. So, you know, some of the monies that were previously being spent at, you know, outsourcing this, you know, at Ford, are now not going to be doing that. They're going to be spent internally. And with the swing of just focusing on CTE, with the swing from, you know, everybody going to university to now really promoting nationwide about, you know, vocations versus a university degree. I think it's a wonderful move on the district's part. It's going to give us a little bit of a pinch while you're building the program, but you've got a lot of really good people in place. Your CTE coordinator is top-notch. She's bringing some great people into the district as far as teaching, and that's just gonna attract more kids coming in. So, all of this is in front of us, and all of this is going to be reviewed and gone over. And just to clarify, Cheryl, I know you said just a little over $1 million, but the fund balance at the end of the year, committed fund balance 4.2.
Correct.
It's not gonna be, so I understand what you're saying, that's committed,
Right.
but,
It's a little over 5 million we'll have in the bank.
right. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on that it's not just the 1.5 million that we have. But I appreciate you hearing my comments and, you know,
I have one more question. We used to, in years gone past, try to keep fund balance like total around 15%. Where will this budget, should it have to run like this, take us?
it takes us at 11%. And yes, I agree with you, the state's minimum recommendation is 5%. But I, like you, would be very nervous if we got to that point. And I'm sure your superintendent feels the same way, because we've had these conversations.
To the chair.
Yes.
Just a point of clarification. So, I don't know if this is for all the cabinet, but it sounds like there are no plans in place yet. We're just waiting for a bunch of what ifs and then deciding maybe we'll put a plan in place on how to fix the budget.
I disagree. We've had extensive conversations about what we will have to do, but it's premature to start slashing staff and slashing programs without having facts. You can't make financial decisions without having facts in front of you. And we're
But that's what you're asking us to do.
No, I'm not asking you to do this. If I had my druthers, I would say let's wait, but we don't have that option, Amanda. We are obligated by law to pass a budget by June 30th. And again, I just want to reinforce that this is a preliminary budget. We could change this 10 times before the end of the school year. We can change this any number of times that you want. You're not stuck on one amendment in the year. It doesn't make a lot of sense to change it multiple times, but this budget, you're not tied into this budget. This just tells the state that you're being fiscally responsible, that you're looking at your finances, and that as a board, you've reviewed it, you've talked to the people in place that help you put this together, and that you know that you have to do this, if for nothing else, to check the box that you've done your due diligence.
Teacher. Yes. What percentage is school state aid to our budget? So I know it's a large amount.
It's a big chunk.
So I'm saying though,
For sure.
so when we make these to change them according to what we get from the state,
Yes.
right? And you're right, but I don't think that we should be able to make that before they say what they're gonna give. That's extremely hard to do. And I get your point, because we're in the dark. We're just blindly going in there. But in order to get that money, that's what we have to do. We have to produce a pseudo budget, and then redo when we figure out how much money they will give us. And they're the bulk of we get the bulk of our money from them. So we wait. It's not right, because I agree with you, but it is what it is.
To the chair?
Yes.
I just have one more thing to draw attention. Back in 21-22, like Lori asked about the fund percentage balances, we had 24% fund equity, which was really, really good. Then we've dropped to 18 to 17. We just approved $2.8 million, which is a record drawdown again to balance last year's budget. And now even going in blind, which we have to do, I just don't like the feeling, it makes me physically ill, another $3.2 million brings us down to 11%. If we keep on this path and don't have some really set plans and stop the excess spending and stuff like that, we will be looking at rebargaining with our teachers and everything else coming around, and our fund equity will be nothing.
To the chair.
So that's all I have to say. I'm done.
Sorry. To the chair. What excess are we spending? Like, when you say that, what do you mean? Like, what are we frivolously spending something? Is that what you mean, or it's just that we have to spend a lot of money at certain times?
To the chair?
Yes.
What I'm talking about is our fund equity. If you look at the pattern we're going on, what we started at our fund balance.
But when we started it, lots of things have happened since then. You know what I mean? Like, I know we don't like the word pandemic around here, but I mean, the reality is that really put a damper on education as a whole, worldwide. So we have to think about those things too. We are not just, I don't think we're like frivolously doing anything right now. Like, not, you know, I get what you're saying, because I agree. This is weird, you know what I mean? But I don't know if I want to blame, I don't want to blame anybody. Really, I don't. But there's some things have happened. We have suffered a lot of losses. But the uptick to this is we have money there. It's not like we're not dead yet. But I do understand it is murky.
To the chair.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted, since it was stressed across cabinet with a couple of the questions to be asked about the planning that's underway, particularly staffing. Sorry about that. That shouldn't be going up. And, you know, some of the plans we're trying to make blind, if you will, to some degree. And I will say, since my time participating in the cabinet with the inception of the ESSER dollars for COVID, there's a small percentage of those that were staffing expenses. Still, staffing's a big portion of many things, but there's already been not only considerations, but reductions in some staff that may have been added due to the pandemic. And that's already underway, or that staff is already funded in another manner outside of the general fund within the district. So those things are already taking place and being planned for and articulated as we move forward, not just waiting. A special area teacher, for example, I'll just give it as an example. Additional paraprofessionals that may have been called for during the beginning of the pandemic, and so on.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? I'd just like to say this. No, I don't like this, and I don't like the what ifs, and I know we can't guarantee what our government is going to do, but I have spoken many times over the since Governor Whitmer has been in, and she is big on education, and I'm trying to keep positive that she's going to do everything that she can for our students, I mean, in the state.
Yeah, I'm sorry, to the chair. I wasn't implying or trying to imply, if you kind of took that. I know that our governor is very pro-education. I mean, I listen to her a lot. And, you know, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming Linda. I just don't like this. That's all.
And I do understand that, but I'm just trying to stay positive, and I don't feel like everybody sitting at this table is trying to stay positive, but I am trying to stay positive. And in my heart, I believe that Governor Whitmer is going to do everything that she can to keep our students where we'll have a nice balance for them, amount of money. So.
To the chair?
Yes.
I just think that we as a board and district need to be doing everything that we could be doing. and not just relying on the state and the governor. Her term is almost up anyway, and I was looking at the state after Misha's question. Yes, the revenue keeps going up for the state, but our enrollment numbers keep going up and our expenses keep going up. So,
And I understand exactly what you're saying, and I feel the
not all of us
same way,
are
but
optimists. Some
I'm
of us
trying
are
to-
realists.
Well, I'm both, and I'm trying to keep it to the point where it'll be positive and not so negative, that's all.
To the chair.
Yes?
And don't misunderstand, I am going by the numbers and the data. And what we have there, there's no manipulating those numbers. That's black and white. There is a pattern, it keeps dropping. You know, yes, we are getting good support for our governor, but she is term limited, she's done. We don't know what's gonna happen. You know, it's a very critical time, and I think now it's very critical that there's open communication with this whole board, that we need to know what you're thinking, what's going on, what are the plans, because if we apply this to an individual, I don't think there's anyone at this board table that would go out and spend with not knowing. But it's not fair, and we have to do that, but the pattern speaks for itself. We are on a downward spiral, and if it continues and we don't get proactive in what we're going to do, we're going to go back to those 11 and 12 o'clock board meetings where our school gyms are filled and our parents are screaming, where we're forced to make those tough decisions. Do we cut choir? Do we cut athletics? And you don't want to go there, but I've been there, Lori's been there. And I'm sorry, we have to be realistic too, along with you being, it's great to be optimistic, but we have to look at the figures and we have to really work together. And the doors of communication between the board, we need to know what our administrators and our superintendent is thinking and our financial director. I don't think there's too much information you can give us at this time, just to reassure us, and then you pray, you know, it'll come down, but you know, you just have to look at the few years and you look at what is coming ahead and the direction of this district, and it could be a very dark time. And we can't say, well, other districts are struggling. We have to focus on South Redford and our kids. And now I've said way too much, but you know, we have to do some really hard thinking moving forward, as hard as it is, because when the money's gone, it's gone. It doesn't matter. So that's it.
Chair,
Yes.
just to Amanda's question earlier, have we made any cuts? No, we haven't made any cuts yet. But we've had a lot of conversations up to this point, because Linda's done a great job letting us know where the budget will be and what she's thinking about. And like for certain positions, we have not restaffed them. So we've had tough conversations with principals already to say, hey, look, this person's retiring. Do we really need, with all caps on need, this position? Can you restructure, you know, where you can operate without this position? And there's been a few positions like that. So we've already started down that path of, you know, considering all those things, because we understand it too, and it makes all of us nervous. You know, we don't know what's going to happen after Governor Whitmer, but you know, we're trying to think ahead and make sure that we're putting certain things in place so that we're not in a position where we have to have those tough conversations in the gym or something like that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Guess not. Okay, it says, consider preliminary budget for the 2023-2024 school year and public hearing, and I guess I'm supposed to read that. A public hearing is now open at 7 o'clock.
6:58.
6:58 p.m. for the purpose of hearing the public on the adoption of the operating budget of the South Redford School District for the fiscal year 2023-2024, and the proposed tax millage rate to be levied to support the adopted 2023-2024 school year budget. All interested parties will be heard and all aspects of this matter are open for discussion. If there are no people who wish to comment, we appreciate you taking the time. I should ask. We had a discussion. Do we have any other discussions? Yes.
Point of clarification.
Yes.
The public hearing is for anybody that's in the audience.
We
Okay.
don't have it. Okay. If there are, we appreciate you taking the time to present your opinions. Please step up to the podium, state your name, and that. The closing is, since there are no further comments to be heard, the public hearing is now closed at 6:59 p.m. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is to consider the resolution, and I would like a vote.
Madam President,
Yes.
I move the adoption of the following resolution.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Early and supported by Mr. Winston. Do the roll call, please.
Daniel Winston,
Yes.
Anthony Johnson,
Yes.
Lori Hicks,
Yes.
Misha Early,
Yes.
Cheryl Flusher,
Yes.
Amanda Flusher, yes. Shirley Tolliver.
Yes. It has been 7 yeses, 0 nays. The resolution is adopted. Thank you, guys. Next item on the agenda is establish 2023 tax levy.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam.
Kinsey.
Thank you, Madam President. The 2023 taxable value for property in South Redford is $587,467,764, an increase of $41,006,318, or approximately 7% higher than the 2022 taxable value. The school district is authorized to levy no more than 18 mills for general operation on homestead property. In the event that the increase in taxable value surpasses the consumer price index for the year, millage reduction fractions may come into play. This year, the additional voted non-homestead operating millage has a millage reduction fraction of 0.9967, which will carry forward until the expiration of the millage. The sinking fund millage is not subject to a millage reduction fraction this year since it was approved by the voters after April 2022. As the additional voted non-homestead operating millage is there to preserve our ability to levy the full 18 mills, there is no real impact as a result of the millage reduction fraction. The district will levy 2.000 mills for a building and site sinking fund approved by the voters on May 2022. The funds generated by this millage will be recorded in a special fund for capital projects. The district will levy 1/2 of the millage on July 1st, 2023, and 1/2 on December 1st, 2023. The state will levy 6 mills on all property for deposit in the state school aid fund. It is recommended that the board establish the 2023 tax levy rate for South Redford to be 18 mills on homestead property for general operating and 8.1000 mills on property for debt retirement and 2.0000 mills for building and site sinking fund. Attached for your information is a copy of 2023 tax rate request. A resolution is attached for your consideration.
Are there any questions on the tax levy? Do I have a board member willing to adopt the resolution?
To the chair,
Yes?
I move the adoption of the resolution.
Do I have a support?
Support.
It's been moved by Mrs. Hicks and supported by Mr. Winston.
They said that at the same time, but I heard Daniel louder.
Who said
Cheryl.
I didn't hear, I heard Daniel.
Okay, roll call. Daniel Winston,
Yes.
Anthony Johnson,
Yes.
Lori Hicks,
Yes.
Misha Early,
Yes.
Cheryl Fletcher,
Yes.
Amanda Fletcher, yes, Shirley Tolliver.
Yes. 7 ayes, yeses, 0 nays. Resolution adopted. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is comments from the audience. There are none. Next item on the agenda is Plus Delta Plan for Improvement. Mrs. Davis.
Madam President, Board, what processes help the board's work this evening? Elsie?
To the chair.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank you. You're doing an excellent job. You're very informative, and there's nothing left to try and figure out. Your numbers are spot on, and you do a hell of a job.
I
Just
appreciate
wanted to
that.
let you know.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Alder Fletcher?
Thank you so much, Linda. You're doing a great job. You are explaining things very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Deltas, what operations or processes help the board, could help the board in the future? Opportunities for improvement.
To the chair.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it, I think Jason should have been here tonight. I know he had other obligations, but I feel like this was very important and maybe he could have helped answer questions too.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think that's all, Madam President.
Thank you. There's no other business that comes before the South Redford Board of Education. I adjourn this meeting at
7:06.
7:06.